Hello, and welcome to Livewires by Hold Sell. I'm Hans Lee, and today we are hunting for opportunities among some of 2024's worst performers. Are there any bargains to be had, or are they dogs for a reason? To do that, we're joined by Hugh from Atlas Funds Management and Henry Jennings from Marcus Today. Let's get to it. First up, we have Neuron Pharmaceuticals. It has increased its market value by almost 6 times in 5 years after successfully bringing to market a drug called Daybue to treat the cognitive disorder Rett's syndrome. Henry, I get to start with you on this one. Is it a buy, hold, or sell?
For me, it is a buy. Still a buy. It has been an interesting story, to say the least. It did have a huge run on the back of the cash putting through to the bottom line after they did the deal with Daybue. But Acadia, which is in the US, which is their partner in the US, came under some pressure from a Hindenburg report. That knocked them quite hard and they've struggled. Next year, they have a new drug which has even more promise than Daybue, NNZ2591, a catchy title, I know.
But they thought really long about that name.
They did, didn't they? They all do. They're all the same. And I think we should get some pretty good news out of that. And also, there's the worldwide expansion of Daybue as well, which I think is to come.
Okay. Hugh, while the share price has gone up 6 times in 5 years, it's almost halved since January from $25 to $13. Is it a buy, hold, sell for you?
Well, soft hold. Henry must have rubber underpants, as you'd need to own this stock.
Right.
Going from 9 to 23 and back to 13.
13, yeah.
It treats a very small particular disease which afflicts 1 in 10,000 females. They've done a great job in terms of monetizing that. There's a lot of cash on the balance sheet, but a lot of those royalty cash flows are going to develop the new drug. If the new drug doesn't work, there's no dividends, but just the volatility of it scares me.
Yeah, absolutely. So soft hold for you there. That's a new term for all of us. Next up, we're talking about Viva Energy Group. It was established in 2014, and Viva is an energy company providing fuels and energy solutions across the nation. Also operates an extensive retail network. Hugh, is it a buy, hold, or sell for you?
It's a sell for us. We like the thematic. We own Ampol in the portfolio, but this is the poor man's Ampol. Ultimately, it's got a lot more debt. They've taken a lot of debt to take on OTR. And they have investing in different areas. So Ampol's investing a little bit more in the fast chargers, where you can pay $40 to charge your EV. It's a much better network, but they both benefit from being the last 2 refiners in Australia. So they get the government largesse to be effectively a subsidy to remain in power, remain going. Quite like the thematic, but Ampol's a better quality company with lower debt and better network.
Fair enough. Henry, the year-to-date return for VEA, minus 25%. Is it a buy, hold, or sell for you?
I think it's a hold. I think the chance to sell it has probably gone at the moment. And they are integrating the OTR business. They have seen lower tobacco sales. I guess there's a lot of illegal tobacco sales being affected at the moment, and we've seen that down in Melbourne with some of those fires in tobacconists. I'm sure has some connection. So I think as they bed down that acquisition. And they do have that government support. As Hugh says, there are only 2 refineries left, so they are in that kind of dominant position. They have been beaten up, and maybe they can get back on track. So I think the chance to sell has gone. If you've still got it, I think you hold it for 2025 and hopefully better times ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we'll move away from the cigarettes, but we will stay in the energy space, but with a different angle. We're talking uranium miners and specifically Paladin Energy. Uranium enjoyed somewhat of a renaissance this year. Henry, is it a buy, hold, or sell for you?
It's a buy for me. It's an interesting one. It's got the largest short position in the market now. It's taken that title from Pilbara recently, which is quite astonishing. I think around 15% of that one is shorted. Now, it is under, at the moment, it's trying to make an acquisition in Canada of Fission Corp, which unfortunately has gone to the Canadian equivalent FIRB, which has not helped the short position, I suspect. But for me, uranium is one of those metals that actually has a good supply-demand equation in its favour as opposed to many of the other metals. So I think we're going to see a renaissance in uranium. I wouldn't be surprised to see Donald Trump push nuclear power a little bit harder as well, and that should benefit the spot price, and maybe they can get through the production problems at Langer Heinrich, which they're 8 and 9 months into a 21-month ramp up of that project.
Okay. Hugh, Paladin, another one that's taken its lumps this year, down around 21% year to date. What do you say, buy, hold, or sell?
No nukes for this investor. And more just based on the mine. The mine was shut from 2018 to 24. And they've got one mine. They had production issues. They promised a big game and haven't delivered. I think the Fission acquisition in Canada, it's just bizarre why they would do that. They've got so much on their plate. Get Langer Heinrich back up and creating before you're going off buying projects in Canada. It's too much going on. try to fix what you can.
No nukes, just another way for you to say sell.
Sell, yeah.
Thank you very much. Now comes the time of the show where we ask the guests to bring along their stock picks. Here we've asked Hugh and Henry to name a beaten up stock they think could get going in 2025. Hugh, I'm going to come to you first, and your pick has been in the news of late, to put it politely. It's down around 48% year to date. What is it?
Mineral Resources. It's sold a lot of copies of the AFR this year.
I think so. It's between that and WiseTech, I think, for number one.
Yeah, they were battling each other out, but it's been a terrible year. We've had the falling lithium price, issues with the debt, and then also the main issues with the founder. They've been in the naughty corner, rightly so, a lot of governance issues, but whilst Chris Ellison is in the naughty corner, he's actually done some good things for shareholders. Selling the haulage road, the Onslow for $1.3 billion to Morgan Stanley, selling the gas assets to Gina Reinhardt, which looks to be a very good deal. So whilst he's been naughty, he's been nice for shareholders. Looking ahead, it's very heavily beaten up. Improving sentiment in the lithium market. The mines come back online. The historic issues start to fade. I think there's a good chance for a rebound. It's the highest quality of the lithium stocks, in that you've got the mining services, iron ore, and a bit of gas on top of that.
Okay, absolutely. Henry, what's one beaten up stock you think is setting up for a big 25?
Web Travel is my stock. WEB is the stock code, not to be confused with Webjet, WJL. Web Travel is the kind of the B2B business, the WeBeds business. It's another Humpty Dumpty stock, if you like, because they pushed Humpty off the wall and they demerged the two, and that's always distracting for management. They can make missteps, whatever. There's a lot of egos at play as who goes where, etc. So I think that's been a distraction. Also, we had the Paris Olympics this year, which affected hotel bed prices, which affected their margins. That is behind it. And we had the Euros as well, where England didn't do as well as we should, but that's that's certainly another point that we should make at another time. But I think Web has got potential. It has sort of found a bit of a bottom, and I think it's got potential to bounce in 2025.
Well, all three of us are off to the football pitch now, but that's all we've got time for today. We hope you enjoyed that episode of Buy, Hold, Sell. If you did, why don't you give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channels and the Livewire website as well, where we are adding great content every single week. Take care. We'll see you next Friday for more Buy, Hold, Sell.